Today I have Cam from Caterpillar in the studio with me.
In Aberdeen, big oil and gas and engineering industry, so I ended up doing an engineering apprenticeship when I left school at 17. I'm involved in mining electrification, business development manager, looking at mining electrification and some energy services that we're offering to support our clients with this transition to battery electric mining fleet.
Go into what a good microgrid looks like in 2025.
Well, as much yellow equipment as possible, of course.
And so what about fitness-wise? You're going to be doing it, is it an Ironman?
I did my... 2 years ago I did the half Ironman. Last year I did the full Bustleton Ironman, and I'm doing it again on the 7th of December. But
Cameron Sharp, you are an Ironman. Welcome home.
I wonder if I head along with you. You keen to do a little training with me?
yeah, let's do it. Yeah, I'll get you a free trial.
Will ya?
Yeah.
Oh! Welcome back to another episode on the Gold Room Podcast. Today I have Cam from Caterpillar in the studio with me. Thank you very much for joining me, Cam.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Josh.
Not a bloody problem, mate. As you know, we rip into the life and the times straight away because the listeners want to know who the bloody hell are they.
Sure.
So what do we got, mate? Take us back to the early days in Scotland.
Yeah, well, grew up in Aberdeen in Scotland. Sport was my thing as a youngster, so loved playing football or soccer, as I have to call it here in Australia. So played a lot of soccer, wanted to be a professional football player when I grew up.
How'd that go?
Unfortunately, it didn't pan out. That's why I'm here, Josh. I in Aberdeen, big oil and gas and engineering industry, so I ended up doing an engineering apprenticeship when I left school at 17. Working on large engines with a Finnish engine company. Did mechanical, electrical and marine engineering. I'm not a degree qualified engineer as such, but I've got qualifications in those three engineering types. I used to work on a lot of rigs, boats, power stations around Europe, so it was an interesting way.
Did you have any favourite locations, mate, or favourite ships? Were you an oil rig bloke, or did you like going out on the bloody pipe laying vessels?
A lot of our work in Aberdeen was on oil and gas platforms, FPSOs, or vessels that were servicing the oil and gas industry. Enjoyed working on them. Loved spending time in Scandinavia. The company I worked with was in Finland, but I had various trips to Sweden as well.
Yeah, beautiful.
Bit
of skiing?
Not much skiing, no. It was mainly work-related stuff.
Right.
But
no enjoyment?
There was also some evening activities, of course.
Okay. A few frothies were had?
Potentially, yes.
Okay. And so what led you to bloody Australia, mate?
I did a year's backpacking in my early 20s. Left with a few friends of mine who were at university. They managed to leave quite quickly. But I had a flat I had to rent out and a vehicle I had to sell, so I missed out on the Asian part of their trip and met them in Australia. So started out in Perth and was lucky enough to spend from November to February in Perth, so experienced a summer. So loved it. Yes, spent some time down at the Ocean Beach Backpackers down at Cottesloe. So we had a lot of fun.
The cot on a Sunday.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Mate, I did something similar. I was 19, had my 20th birthday over here, and the cot on a Sunday. That was just what everybody did. It was a long bloody time ago, mate.
Yeah, no, it was certainly good. I'd never seen women in a bar wearing such few clothes.
Neither had I, mate. The midday, going in there midday and until catching the train home in the early hours.
Yeah. Good. In Scotland, it takes half an hour to unwrap them to that state of undress.
Bloody cold. So, went back to Scotland after a little bit of time here?
Yeah, I had one of these 5-stop trips. So it was Singapore, Australia, New Zealand, New York, and then London on the way back to Aberdeen. So,
yeah, cool.
A good time was had.
And so what about after, so what, you got back to Scotland and then you met a wife. What happened? Any kids? You got any kids?
Yes, I've got 2 children. My daughter's 12 and the boy's 6.
Oh, yeah, cool.
But no, I got back to Scotland. I ended up working with the company I worked with in Scotland during my years backpacking in Australia. So so I got to go out to Fiji and overhaul a couple of engines in a power station near Suva.
Wow.
Had a reasonable sum of money when I got back to Australia and managed to spend it all in the next 3 months before I got back to Scotland, and had to borrow money off my mother to buy a car when I got home. But then, I ended up getting sponsored by the same company to move back out to Australia.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
And spent approximately 2 years in Australia, and then moved back to Scotland to be with my now, well, the kid's mum.
Yeah. Now ex-wife.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So you moved back here. You got a job with?
My first job when I moved back here in 2008 was with Energy Power Systems, who were the Caterpillar dealer.
Yep.
That was my first sales role. So that was me selling generator sets, Caterpillar gensets into the mining industry.
And had you had much experience in sales before that?
No, none.
But you're just hands-on, on the tools. So you knew the parts.
Yeah, I knew engines pretty much inside out by that stage, so I was pretty comfortable with the electrical and the mechanical aspects regarding gensets. So yeah, it was a pretty easy transition, if I'm honest.
Yeah, right.
I used to do quite a lot of preparation before I spoke to customers on the phone, so I'd mark down all the questions I wanted to ask and all the responses I needed to receive. So I was a lot more methodical than I am these days, but I think
look,
now
you've got the experience. You just wing it now, right?
Well, that's right. Yeah, now I know all the questions I want to get answers to, and it's pretty straightforward generally.
Yeah, beautiful. So let's get into Cat, mate. Tell me, obviously been with them for 7 years now. You are heading up their electrification side of the business.
I'm involved in mining electrification, business development manager, looking at mining electrification and some energy services that we're offering to support our clients with this transition to battery electric mining fleet. Yeah.
Are there many companies apart from the big 3 or 4 adopting it or at least considering it?
Yes, there's a huge amount of interest. To meet some of the decarbonisation strategies that have been put in place, mining fleet is part of the biggest emitters on a mine site in an open cut mining application. So the haul trucks are certainly something that needs to be addressed to hit some of the targets that are being looked at.
Yeah, okay.
Been involved in power generation for mining for quite a number of years now. So looking at hybrid power systems generally, gensets, incorporating renewables and batteries and the likes to try to get to that lowest levelized cost of energy.
Yes, at Bellevue Gold, they've got, when I was at Diggers and Dealers, I saw that Darren Stralow spoke very positively about what they've done down there. And with their wind turbines, solar, batteries, it's all looking good. It's for the benefit of the environment, I guess. So run me through a new site coming on board and saying, look, we want to get some clean energy going.
Yeah, well, there's a lot to look at. You work out, is there access to gas? Is diesel the only option they have? What space is available? Is wind energy an option? So you have to look at the solar and wind availability at site, and then you can model what the appropriate power system would look like based on load profile and things of the particular mine site, and some of the large loads that are coming on and off are factors that you need to consider, of course. What's
the bloody cost saving in the long run? And what is it? How long does it usually take? And look, you can't say usually because every site's going to be different. But what sort of buyback are you looking at? Is there tax credits? Obviously, yes, there are tax credits with the government. How do you sell it? How do you tell me how you sell a bloody energy efficient system, a clean energy system to a mining client?
It's fairly easy to do now as long as there's a reasonable life of mine has been explored.
Yep.
You need to be able to say you have 5 to 10 to 15 years of of mining ahead of you, and then it becomes quite easy. You know, to add solar to any diesel or gas system, you're usually looking at a 3 to 5 year payback period. So but then it's you have to spend money to make money. So there's more money spent in the capex aspect, but then it reduces your opex quite considerably in run hours of the generator sets and in fuel used, of course. And then there's the emissions aspect as well. So with some of these principles that are going to be put in place in various countries, the safeguard mechanism is one that's going to come into play here in Australia soon. So being seen to be reducing your fuel usage and to be reducing emissions is quite critical to not face penalties.
Go into what a good microgrid looks like in 2025.
Well, as much yellow equipment as possible, of course. So Caterpillar gensets, Caterpillar battery system, control platform, and then we can do a lot of modelling around the suitable size of renewable aspects as well.
Yeah, beautiful.
So solar, batteries, gensets, wind. How big should they be, and what's the what's the sweet spot? Is what the modelling determines.
So you'd also be wanting to look at growth potential. So you don't want to sell them something that's just for today. You'd want to sell something that has that growth potential as the mine grows.
Yeah.
As as they find more ore or whatever they're looking for, then so can the system. The system can stand up and grow with it.
Yeah, that's right, Josh, and it really lends itself to smaller, high-speed gensets generally when you start looking at hybrid power systems.
Okay.
I mean, 10 years ago, you'd been looking to put as big engines or turbines in place as you could and have them running up at that most efficient load levels, up around that 80 to 90%. Now, with the adoption of renewables, you'd rather have a lot of smaller, high-speed units being able to ramp up and down based on the availability of the renewables. So, yeah, it's the landscape's changed certainly within the last 15 years, and you look at a lot of these big mines up in the Pilbara and they have, very big gas turbines, which is probably the last thing you'd like now that you start looking to adopt renewables, because whether they're running at 20% or 90% load, you're tipping a similar amount of fuel into them. So they're not ideal for hybrid applications.
Okay. What about what's a typical integration headache on site?
There's been some learnings over the years. Yeah, I was involved with some of the first hybrid power systems in mining. And having a suitable battery system is very critical, because in low load times you want to be able to shut your gensets off and be running from grid forming battery solution and renewables. But if your battery inverter doesn't have the ability to provide fault current, it struggles to trigger protection in the system. So you end up having to keep generators running to provide that inertia to.
Still burning fossil fuels.
Exactly, yeah, when you don't really have to be. So there's been some learnings over the years, but a lot of those early projects received ARENA funding. So, those learnings became common knowledge in the industry, and then you managed to grow from there.
Awesome. How do the batteries go? I don't have this one written down, but how do the batteries go? I know enough of it, with the 50 degrees up north, obviously you're going to get better life out of a battery south, WA, but how are these new batteries going up north?
Yeah, well, battery technology's changing rapidly. Last year you could get 5 megawatt hours in a 20-foot container of lithium iron phosphate batteries. Most recently, I think I heard it was up to 8 megawatts. So the levels of these batteries, the sizing and the capabilities of the batteries is increasing quite rapidly. We're doing testing of battery electric machines in various locations around the globe, cold climates, hot climates, wet conditions. So it's going to be interesting to see how the batteries perform in these different regions. Yeah.
Trolley assist. So this is a question that I actually got a friend of mine. When I knew you were coming in, I said, right, what are some of these bloody questions? And what I've got here is explain to me what trolley assist is versus batteries straight on the trucks.
So the trucks, these new trucks that we're developing, battery electric, so they don't have engines as such. There will be a rail at the side of the pit. So rather than being an overhead trolley assist type solution, the rail will be at the side of the pit. It's known as our DET solution, which means dynamic energy transfer.
Okay.
So the trolley assist solutions have had some issues over the years. They're very complex to install. The road conditions have to be have to be kept in quite good. The roads have to be kept in quite good condition,
Which is difficult.
Yes.
Difficult here. You just need a little bloody sprinkling of rain, and the road's gone to shit, isn't it?
Yeah, and very complex to install as well. So timely to install these overhead trolley type solutions. Whereas the solution we're looking to deploy, easy to deploy, road conditions doesn't have much of an impact, and you can run different size trucks on the same solution. So there'll be an arm comes off the side of the truck and connects to the rail at the side of the pit. And this can even be used in conjunction with diesel electric machines. So your diesel engine or generator set can go into idle mode, just keeping some systems live on the truck.
The hybrid truck.
Yes, and the truck can be running from the shore power or the power coming from the pantograph type solution. So it allows the truck to go faster, so increasing productivity and reducing fuel burn, which is, of course, two key factors in mining.
What about fast charge batteries that Twiggy Forrest was talking about? You know much about those? Or what they're doing with that technology?
There's lots of learnings going on in the industry just now from a lot of different companies. So, we've our program we're running with some clients is called our Early Learner program. So we've got various Tier 1 mining companies working with us to kind of co-develop some battery electric machines. We've got another program running, which is a 4-year kind of learning journey called our Pathways to Sustainability.
Yep.
We've got around 65 mining customers signed up to that. And, we're not pushing battery electric machines down everybody's throats because
Horses for courses, right?
They make more sense in certain parts of the world, and everybody's on a different pathway. So we're looking at emissions reductions, alternative fuel types, finding a means of getting these machines to end of life so that they can start looking to adopt new technologies.
That's awesome.
But we're trying to work with our key clients, with all our clients to help them meet those emissions reductions that they're trying to meet.
Okay. Explain to me CAT, dynamic energy transfer.
So it's a rail at the side of the pit where the vehicle can be charging while moving. So most of these battery electric machines will be autonomous, so they'll be driving themselves. There'll be an arm comes off the side of the truck and connects to this rail at the side of the pit.
The whole time it's going up the pit?
For periods. So there'll be sections of rail depending on the state of charge of the battery.
So it's just so that's like a equivalent of a fast charge.
Yes, charging while moving. Yeah. And then when the truck's going down to the bottom of the pit again, it's actually producing regenerative loads from the braking of the wheel motors to trickle charge the battery. So when you start looking at various technologies in mining,
it's amazing.
Trucks, trains is one that really makes a lot of sense, especially in the Pilbara region, where from port to mine site, it's a slightly uphill gradient.
I've heard about that. But
there's nothing in it, so it's relatively straightforward. Then from mine to port, it's loaded up, so the vehicle's braking the whole time and trickle charging the battery. So, that's one that really makes sense. And then we've deployed a number of battery systems alongside skip winders, so hoists going down to underground mines, pulling up the raw material. And they're another really good application for adding batteries to, where you can kind of isolate the load using a battery system,
yep,
rather than having to run your existing power generation at quite inefficient load levels to allow the headroom for this large, often around a 7 to 8 megawatt motor to kick in and out every minute or two.
Wow.
And then when it's going down to the bottom of the mine again, it's producing regenerative loads which are charging up the battery and then being reused. So there's a lot of very interesting applications for batteries in mining.
Well, it's amazing. What sort of data and software is required for charging batteries on site?
Yeah, it becomes quite complex when you start looking at electrifying a mine site. Lots of large loads charging up, and some of the software required for looking at a mine site holistically are just not available as yet. So there's
Cat working on that? Cat's got their own developers working?
Yeah, we're certainly looking at what needs to be done to support the electrification of mining. It becomes quite complicated because, of course, you've got mill motors, you've got crushers, you've got some huge loads operating on mine sites. You've also got these trucks, which are going to be large loads when they connect to the grid. So trying to do it sensibly and making sure that it's being done in a staggered process is quite critical. I mean, you don't want all these trucks charging up at the same time.
Absolutely not.
But it's really going to lend itself to energy storage in a big way because energy storage will give you a bit of a buffer between whatever the existing power system is and all these large loads that are kicking in and out.
Yeah, that's amazing. Your long career, not saying you're old, but from your career, what's been a standout? What's been the highlight that you've really enjoyed? And you can't say the WA Mining Club luncheons, all right,
I've enjoyed... I kind of fell into renewables. It wasn't a conscious decision to get into renewable energy. I went through a redundancy in a solar and battery inverter company were looking for my support to talk about hybrid systems. They had lots of people that were across batteries and solar, but they were looking for somebody with an engine background. So I was very lucky to get into the renewable energy industry back around 2014. And I was involved in some of the first hybrid power systems in Australian mining.
Do you know Eric Hill?
Yes, I certainly know Eric.
He's a bloody good bloke, isn't he?
I don't know if I met him face to face, but we had lots of conversations.
Oh, have you emails and whatever? Oh, okay. Yep.
But
he was actually, Eric Hilly was the bloody first person to come on and interview on the Gold Room podcast.
Ah, great.
Yeah.
Well, I've always got on with Eric quite well.
Yeah, he's a fantastic bloke.
But I should definitely sit down and have a beer with him at some point.
Oh, you definitely should, mate. He loves it. Look, he loves a frothy. Him and I have had a few up at the boat in Mindarie there.
Oh, yeah.
He used to have a house up there. Yeah.
But no, I was lucky enough to be involved with some of the first hybrid power systems in Australia. And I like being involved in new technologies because you're often coming across problems that people haven't dealt with before. So, I mean, I've already said I'm not an engineer as such. I don't have a degree in engineering, but I've been involved in engineering my whole career. And
you're a problem solver.
It's fun coming across. Yes, I like saying that. Yes, Josh, I'm a problem solver.
Beautiful.
But now being involved with the battery electric trucks and coming across some of the problems that we're coming across with looking at, are these mines grid connected? Do they have islanded power systems? Do they have access to more grid power? How clean is their grid power? Is their existing substations and transmission and distribution equipment sufficient to support more grid power to be able to adopt battery electric machines? So, you're coming across issues and problems that people haven't come across before. So I thrive on being involved in a lot of these new technologies.
How do you measure success on a new project? Is it fuel burn, reducing fuel burn, reducing, obviously, carbon emissions?
Yeah, all those things, but also, having a happy customer who's pleased with the support we've provided and we'll see repeat business from. Companies are based on their credibility and their ability to support their customers. So, we want happy customers who are going to place more orders, of course. So we don't tell lies. We've got a lot of integrity. As Caterpillar, would rather underpromise and overdeliver. It's definitely better than the alternative. Yeah.
That's for sure. Mate, from your experience working in the mining industry, what trades do you think, certainly, obviously, your own trade, but working now as a business development role, what trades can you see that we're going to need in the future for young ladies and gentlemen to be getting into to support this industry?
Yeah, I mean, I've said this to a number of people whose children are looking to get into apprentices recently, and I think high voltage electricians are going to become like hen's teeth in the future over the next 10 years as we see electrification starting to take hold. So, there's a lot of
Might be time for me to throw the bloody microphone away and get back on the tools, mate.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah, there's a lot of auto electricians in the mining industry who are used to working on 12 or 24 volt systems.
And they're looking at that 1,000.
Well, this is not these types of sparkies. You're
For
looking
sure.
for high voltage electricians who have the capabilities to work on these kind of volts and amps that we're talking about in these new pieces of equipment.
Looking 5 years out, where do you think the industry will be? I usually ask this. The question I usually ask as one of the last ones is, where will the company be in 12 to 18 months' time? But for what we're talking about today, it's, yes, there are changes in the industry for electrification. Batteries are changing at a great rate of knots. But 5 years, will we be looking at a totally different landscape, or will we just still be slowly looking at implementing clean energy more and more? What do you think it'll look like?
It's not going to happen overnight, Josh. It's going to be it's a huge change. It's a transformational change in mining to electrify mine sites. There's going to have to be rule changes. There's going to be skill set changes. There's going to be legislative changes. Is the government doing all they can, or could they be doing more to be supporting these changes? Are there roadblocks that should be looked at with a little bit more care? It's not something that I'm too close to, but I think it's good that we're working with some of the large mining companies, because they probably have a little bit more sway than we do as an OEM in some of these aspects. Yep. But we've never really seen electricity run around mine sites like this. There's going to have to be power going underground, going to open cut mines, open cut pits. A lot of remote power on mine sites has been done using diesel generator sets, but that's probably not going to be the fix for this type of reticulation of power that we're looking at to electrify mine sites. Yeah, okay. Last one from me, mate. I want to get on to a little passion of yours. You're doing some fundraising for charities. You've got, is it 3? Or you're into your fitness, but I think I read somewhere that end of October or beginning of October, you're going to be doing a cycle for charity. Is that right? Yes, I'm doing the MACA 200 cycle. Did it last year for the first time alongside the ECG engineering team that I do a lot of work with. Yep. How'd you go? For mines in Africa. Yeah, it went pretty well. Yeah, I was pretty happy with my efforts. Yeah. How many Ks you get done? I think we did around 200 between 230 to 240. We did the challenging route on the way down, which takes you up into the hills. And then I think I hit 76 kilometres an hour going downhill after all those uphills. Wow. So that'll be a nice little break for the legs. Well, it was, but then I looked down at the speed I was doing, and I thought, geez, all I have to hit is a stick or a honky nut, and I'm finished here, in my little lycra outfit with my little plastic lid on my head. So I'm starting to realise that I'm not as invincible as I used to be. That's for sure. You certainly get to an age, and you think, oh shit, that can take me out. Yeah. And so, what about fitness-wise? You're going to be doing it as an Ironman? I did my 2 years ago. I did the half Ironman. Last year, I did the full Bustleton Ironman, and I'm doing it again on the 7th of December. But sucker for punishment, mate. Yes, agreed. Yeah, I'm wondering whether I've got the appropriate time to be doing all the training, but I'm pretty stubborn, so I just don't give up. But I certainly won't be on the podium, Josh. My aim is to complete it, and I'm happy with that. Yeah.
Cameron Sharp, you are an Iron Man. Welcome home.
Yeah, well, I'm a few days. I'm going to be leaving Australia and flying to Nepal and going to be hiking to Everest Base Camp for a couple of charities close to my heart, a little fundraiser. So you told me before coming on the air that at your gym they do altitude training. Yeah, I go to a gym in Balcatta called Combined Air. It used to be called Air Locker. Went through a recent name change, but they pull some of the oxygen out of the atmosphere, so it's like doing altitude training.
So it's kind of a circuit training based program where it's weights and cardio mixed together.
I might have to bloody I don't have much time left, but I wonder if I head along with you. You keen to do a little training with me?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, I'll get you a free trial.
Will you?
Yeah.
Oh, bloody oath, mate. Love anything with free in it. So, yeah, mate, I'll come along. That'll be awesome. Dimitri, you going to come take some photos?
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, Cam, look, thanks very much for coming and spending the time with me. As per usual, I've learned a bloody heap. Obviously, out on the mine site, we need to see more yellow. Give Cam a call. All of his details are down the bottom of the in the description. Thanks very much, Cam.
Okay, thank you very much. Cheers, Josh.
Thanks very much for tuning into another episode on the Gold Room Podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode. Also, jump on and don't forget to donate to the fundraiser for two amazing charities, A Miner's Promise and Mission Australia. Thank you.